It is a bit of a different episode. You probably noticed that it's just me. Hilton's not on this one. And it's not because he couldn't be. It's because I asked him if I could just do a solo. I just wanted to talk to you guys and kind of vent a little bit about myself and some of the things that I kind of have been struggling with lately. But if you're watching this, it's kind of just to give you a little preview. It's going to be a little bit about Naga and why I didn't compete and my feelings on what the competition was like and just some things I struggle with that kind of stem from that moment or that day. But to just start off, I was training for the Naga, and I know that was originally going to be part of like a punishment thing we were doing for the whole golf competition. If you're keeping up with our podcast, there's like a golf competition, and our regular listeners are kind of probably fed up hearing about it and it not happening yet, but I promise you we'll definitely get it at some point when it starts to cool down a little bit. And we haven't gotten a punishment, but originally me competing in the Naga was going to be the punishment for me, and I just decided that I'm just kind of done regretting and feeling resentment towards myself for holding myself back and giving excuses of why I couldn't compete or why this competition wasn't going to be the best one or why it just wasn't going to be the right time. And honestly, if I'm being completely real, Dustin competed a few super fights ago. Like, he competes a lot. But he did a super fight in what I believe was New Orleans. And I cannot remember the competition that he did, but he won it. And when he posted about it, him and a few different teammates competed. I think it was him and Josh Meyer. And they both actually won in like just record time. It was like, I think both fights were under a minute. And I think both were leg locks. And the team really showed out that day. But the thing that kind of like stemmed me to do it was he posted a highlight from that competition, and in it, as we all know, Instagram allows you to add songs, and the song that he picked was by a band named Beartooth, and the song I do believe was If I Was Alive. No, it's called I Was Alive by their album The Surface, Beartooth. Check it out. It's basically a song talking about, like, you don't want to live your entire life and have regret looking back. Like, you want to know that, like, when you're in your deathbed, like, you'll look back and think, I did everything I wanted to do, and I lived when I was alive, and I have just not been doing that. Like, there's been a few things that have just gotten in my head and built up anxiety, and it literally has crippled me. And honestly, it's because I get stuck in my head. The things that I have anxiety about are not as bad as I make them out to be when put in the positions where those things become reality. Like, for example, like if I'm dreading competing, going to a competition is going to make me feel like way less dread about it, because when I'm in the moment, I know I will rise to the moment. Whether or not I win, that's irrelevant. Living up to the moment just means like stepping out there on the mats or being in the moment and moving in the way that I want to. And the way that I want to is competing. That's just an example, but honestly, that song made me feel a lot of things, and when I saw Dustin post it, it broke me down. I'm not gonna lie, it made me cry and made me really self-reflect on what I've been doing and what I've not been doing, and like certain things I want to change. And it really got to me. So I decided right then and there that I was going to talk to my coach, Derek, and really push to do this Naga and get prepared in time. And I don't know if Dustin's even going to hear this ever, but if you do, you were the reason that like put me over the edge. Like just that and the song and the combination of like you just going out there and doing it. It meant a lot to me, even though obviously that wasn't your goal. You were just doing what you needed to do and what made you feel right. And I promise you, if we all do that more often, it will inspire others to get out of their shell and do what they need to do or what they feel like they're putting off. And I can't thank you enough for that, even though, again, that's not what you were trying to do. But I promise you, you inspired me to do that. And I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, did he compete? Or maybe you guys can't see anything online about me competing or the results of it and me being involved. I did not compete. And I know that kind of counteracts everything I was just saying, but the Tuesday beforehand, I suffered a small little injury and it scared me a little bit, but it definitely was something I thought I could push through. And I definitely was going to. Weigh-ins were Friday night around like 6 to 8. And by Friday morning, I was cutting weight and I was on par to make weight. And I re-injured the same injury again Friday morning around about 10 a.m. So I felt at that moment it was probably best that I just avoid potentially having a more significant injury happen in the moment. And obviously that put me in a kind of a dark place because, yes, I know everybody's going to say it's Naga. It's just a local competition. It's not that big of a deal. But since the first time I stepped out on the mats, like my first gym ever, Naga was the only competition we were allowed to compete in. And at the time, it was only once a year. So I had trained maybe a few weeks the first time the team that I was at went to Naga, and I wasn't able to go to it. Like I just wasn't aware enough of it for that to be a thing. So I didn't compete at that one, but I was in line to compete at the next one. And that's why it's such a big deal, because the people that competed, some of them won belts, and lucky enough I got to take a picture with a belt, and it really made an impact on me because it gave me something to drive for, something to put a long-term goal on, because at the time you couldn't win them as white belts. I think you could only do like the absolute and win a belt that way, which I was so inexperienced I wasn't even thinking about doing an absolute as a white belt. Not knowing now, like the culture, I feel like, yeah, dude, why not just throw your hat in the ring and do what you can do? But I didn't. I didn't compete the very first time because it was just a few weeks. I, again, wasn't aware enough. By the time it came up, I was at a different gym. But having that mental image of me with the belt and like what that means to me and what I feel like my jiu-jitsu brings to the sport, I was like hanging a lot of pressure on myself for that belt. And I know like you can get multiple times or multiple chances throughout life. Like it's not a one and done. Like you have your entire life to try for these belts or any jiu-jitsu competition, no matter what your goal is. Like you have opportunities time and time again. Like, but in my head, this competition, this gym I was at, like you could only do it once a year. So it was a big deal to me. Ended up not even being my first competition. I think a competition called Copa was my first one. And I ended up doing double gold there. Not a big deal. It's white belt. Who cares? But like the next competition was Naga, and I double golded there. I did gi and no gi, and like, you know, that was back when I was doing both. Now I just do no gi, but it was a big deal to me. And I was like, yo, this is not as bad as I thought. And next time I come here, I'm going to win a belt. So the next time I was going to go, it was going to be a much bigger deal. Like I was going to try to compete in a higher rank if they would allow me. And the next time didn't really come. I competed a lot that first year. And then after like a pretty inexperienced weight cut, I like kind of got in my head and gained a bunch of weight because I thought I deserved it. Like I suffered what you would call, or at least I would call, deservism. So I thought I really deserved stuffing my face and like eating all this food after cutting weight for so long. So I did that and I gained a bunch of weight. Like I gained like 15 pounds in a couple weeks, and then there was another competition. And at this competition, the two guys in my weight class, one was this blue belt that had been a blue belt for a long time and ultimately got promoted to purple right after our match. I won that match. And then the next match, I went against this guy that I'd faced 2 other times. So this would be our third match in like, I don't know, 3 months maybe. Like it was not that long between matches. So I didn't take it as serious because I had subbed him, I think, in the very first match, and then I beat him on points in the second match. So I didn't take him as serious, and that will bite you. I had just gotten back from the Atlanta trip where I cut the weight, and I lost and got 3rd place in the IBJJF Atlanta Open in 2017, I think. And this was, I think, Trey's first attempt at throwing a competition, which he did really well. Or maybe it would have been like in the top 3 or first 3, I should say. And it was me and him in the final, and I just was real sloppy because I thought I was dominating him the first couple times, and he got me in a Kimura trap. So, and I knew nothing was there. I knew it was just a trap, but I didn't understand the concept of like scissoring your legs and choking someone. And he caught me in that because I was like just kind of blindly, sloppily defending the Kimura. And then he set up the scissor choke and got me. And that got in my head so bad that I had lost or didn't get first in 2 competitions back to back. So it kind of got in my head because I was switching gyms, and I switched from my first gym to Remedy, and I was at Remedy for like 5 years. So that kind of got the best of me. But the next few times I competed weren't at competitions so much as like in-house tournaments or like super fights in our own gym kind of thing. I did like this quintet for Remedy, and then I did like 2 competition style in-house tournament things at Kazushi Club. So I went from Remedy to Kazushi, and I guess I've been at Kazushi now for a little over 2 years. I think I started April of 2022, something like that. But this was going to be my first time competing underneath Kazushi Club, and I really wanted to do it right, and I really wanted to represent and make sure that I made the team proud, and I was doing everything in my power to make that happen, and I feel kind of defeated a little bit because my body gave up on me. It wasn't anything I was doing, and maybe there was things that I was doing that wasn't helping my body, but I wasn't aware that my body in certain areas were as bad as they were, and that ended up catching up to me on the very final week. And I know I've lived behind these excuses of like being out of shape or not feeling mentally prepared or feeling a lot of anxiety, and nothing's ever going to be perfect. Like you're going to go through these hurdles, these valleys, these mountaintops, these peaks, these lows, and everything's going to go up and down. And something about this moment just felt so right. It felt like everything was peaking. I felt mentally really good about where my jiu-jitsu was. I felt physically really good about where my jiu-jitsu was. I felt like mentally good about just the moment, about deciding, about being ready to take that step back into the competition field and not feeling as scared. Like I said, that post that Dustin made after his super fight in New Orleans really got to me, and I was like, what am I doing? I'm going to look back and feel like I didn't live the life that I wanted, and there was things that I could have been doing that I will always think about. Like, time is not on your side, so you need to take advantage of when your body is healthy enough to do things like this. And I'm surrounded by a team that are absolute killers. Like, there's not an easy role in our gym. So being prepared wasn't even a thought in that way. It was just like, can I dedicate enough time? Can I, while doing everything else, working 2 jobs, running the podcast, dealing with paying off debt, all sorts of things like death and family, like friendships, all sorts of things coming together and culminating in not having a lot of time and just squeezing in enough to train. And I was able to get it to where I was training every single day. And maybe that was part of the downfall. I don't know. But I didn't want to leave any stone unturned. I wanted to do what it took. And I felt like that was what I needed to do. And if you're close to me, you know that whenever I find a goal or I dedicate something to happen, I go all in. Like, I spare no like physical expense. I do everything I feel like my body can handle, and sometimes even more than that, like things I don't know if I can do or not. But I put in the time. Like, there was Saturdays where I would do 2 open mats, or even Friday, Saturday, back to back, like 3 open mats, and cross train in Foley and Pensacola and with people from Atlanta. Like, I would do everything it took, I thought, to make this competition happen, and I feel like it was out of my control, the injury itself. Like, I felt like I was going to be able to make it through the first one, but when it happened again the morning of weigh-ins, I just felt like that was a sign. And after the first one, it became kind of painful to deal with, and then it slowly got better. So by Friday, I had like a sense of confidence, but when it happened again, that time seemed a little more serious than the first time, even though physically it wasn't as bad looking, but the aftermath of the second one just seemed to be a little more serious. So that is why I did not compete at Naga. And I promise you guys, for any of the people that are doubting, like, I'm making up excuses or I was never going to do it or like whatever, everybody's entitled to their own opinion and like feeling of whatever. But I promise you, I had every intention of competing, and if my body would have held up at least a little bit better, I would have competed, and I honestly feel like I would have done really well. Switching on to how the team did, like, the entire team crushed it. I will try my best to give everybody that competed a shout out. I'm pulling it up right now, so hang in there. So, Brandon, TJ, Audrey, Takia, Casey, Tyler, Josh, Jace. I think that was it from our gym. Oh, Marissa as well. There were so many people competing from all of our gyms combined that we took a group photo, and I mean, I think there was 15 divisions being competed in, or 15 competitors, and I think, or maybe 13 competitors and 15. I'm just literally saying anything right now. Hold on, let me look it up because we did post about it. So we had 12 competitors and ended with 13 medals slash belts, with Audrey winning gold in her weight division and in the absolute division. So there was a belt there. But everyone placed. I don't think anybody competed. Oh, Charlie and Jack as well. I don't think anybody did not place. Like, everybody that competed placed. John Michael as well was there and competed. So proud of the team. Like, it's so awesome to be part of a group of people that are striving to be their best and trying hard as hell every single day in the gym and pushing everyone to be better, because that is what it takes in life to be proud of yourself. You have to go above and beyond and be part of a group of like-minded individuals. Like, everybody there has the goal of becoming the best they can possibly be in jiu-jitsu. So the next person has the same goal, and everybody's going to push each other to be that good. Like, everybody wants everyone in the room better, so that in turn will make the next person better. And that just shows, like, when we compete or when we do anything, when we hold a seminar, when we hold a competition, when we go to a competition, when we have new people in the gym, when we're at open mat, when we roll, when we drill, everything I feel like shines through those things or that lens, and you're able to see, like, it's a true family. It's a brotherhood. It's a sisterhood. It's a group of people that love each other and want everyone in the room level to rise. And I feel like Saturday was like a culmination of that. Like, it's partially new people that are new to our gym or our team. It's a lot of old people. So the team is constantly growing, and I'm just really proud and happy to be a part of that team. I know that Saturday I didn't add to anything. I wasn't able to compete and make everyone proud, but I know that everyone there that stepped foot on the mat, that is such a big accomplishment that not everybody does or gets to do or can do, that feels just like held up or stuck or just frozen and just feels like, yo, there's nothing or no way I could do this. And I promise you that you're just in your head about it. I promise you, like, the people that are around you that love you would support you. And if you ask, I promise you they'll do anything they can to help you accomplish any of those goals. Even if you never compete and you wanted to become a teacher, or if you never did competitions or teach and you just wanted to be a good teammate, everyone wants to help everyone. So you're only going to further the success of that goal if you express it, if you communicate. I promise you, you have a place in our gym if you want to try it out. I think somebody's already said this before, but I don't think jiu-jitsu is for everyone. I think it's for everyone to try, but it's not for everyone to keep. I think everyone should try it out. I mean, just like everyone should try out being a fast food employee. Like, you need to understand what it takes and what it's like. And same thing I think goes with jiu-jitsu. Like, you need to know what it takes, know what it is, respect the people that do it. Because I feel like if you do it, you will learn and have a new form of expectation for yourself when you're around people like that. Like, not to, I don't know. I think it teaches you a different form of patience and respect in general for humankind. Like, when people are having bad days, like, it's not worth taking it and making it a permanently bad day. Like, I don't think just because people know jujitsu that they're inherently more physical or aggressive. I think it actually does the exact opposite. I think it teaches you to diffuse situations because you're better aware and better mentally equipped of what can happen. Like, people get injured in the gym all the time, and we're, quote unquote professionals at it. Like, I think if you're a blue belt and up, like, you know how to take care of your partners, and there's some really good white belts that do the same thing. I think you will always look out for the best in your partner, because without them, you cannot get better. If you don't have training partners, you literally will never get better at jiu-jitsu. And I think it just gives you a better perspective on what you need to do in real life situations. So when people ask me if it's good for like street fighting, I think it absolutely is, but not in the way that you're thinking. Like, yeah, you can defend yourself and do very well against somebody that's trying to attack you, but I think ultimately your first line of defense is just walking away, diffusing the situation, avoiding it completely. I think if you're really smart, like, you won't even be put in a situation where something can happen. And I know sometimes it's unavoidable, but given these situations, now that you know jujitsu, you definitely will do everything you can to avoid it. Like, there's so many situations that seem unavoidable, like people driving and getting mad. Like, that's fine, but never do anything that would permanently take years away from your life or anything. But yeah, I did not compete. We have a killer team, and I hope they know it wasn't for the lack of effort. I was trying my ass off to compete, and I was not able to. But I felt like I really needed to make this podcast a solo because I wanted to talk about a little bit of what made it so difficult to be there. And it was not at all the team or their accomplishments. It wasn't like jealousy or anything. It was, I have an issue in my life where I completely put all my self-worth into physicality or being able to be physical. And I know that is not good, because what happens if one day I'm not able to be mobile or I can't do anything physically? Maybe, God forbid, one day I become paralyzed or something. What is that going to be meaning for my mental health? I don't know, and I don't know how to change that. But I know that if I can't move, I don't feel good mentally. Like, it's very up in the air if I'm supposed to be moving around a lot right now, but I'm doing whatever I can, within reason, so not to injure myself again. But being able to be there and watch people compete and do the thing I was working so hard to be able to do really crushed me. And again, not for like a jealousy reason. Like, I am so happy for everyone that competed, no matter what their outcome was. I'm extremely proud of everybody. I'm so happy that everyone got a medal. And I'm so happy to the people that just were able to step foot on the mat. Like, that is so big. Like, I know that before the competition, that is the most dreadful or most anxiety driven part. Like, you're just thinking about, breathe, I'm okay. Like, it's not that serious, even though that is on your mind all the time. Yo, I'm about to fight somebody that doesn't want me to do well, and they're very skilled. So am I, but their one goal is exactly the opposite of mine. They don't want me to do well, and they want to either put my lights out or tap me or break something. Like, some people just take it to the limit. And my goal is just to win, honestly. I'm not trying to hurt nobody. I'm not trying to put nobody out. I just want to do whatever it's going to take to walk away with that gold or that win. And I want everyone, honestly, to be safe afterwards. Like, I don't want to cause any injuries. But I'm so proud of everybody that got to do that. Because before, like I was saying, before you step on the mat, that's the biggest, like, mental suck, is like, am I going to be okay? And then you get there and you step foot on the mat, and that's no longer the biggest thing. The biggest thing in your mind is like, let me just perform the best that I can. And if you do on the day, you will 100% win, in my opinion. As long as you do what you are capable of and you've put in the work, you will always come out successful. And success isn't always a gold medal or a win. It can be just having your best day. Stepping on the mat, that could just be your best day. You know? Like just being able to be there and know that you came for yourself. You did a successful pass. You put somebody in danger. If you have a goal inside of yourself past just winning or something and you accomplish that, that alone, you're heading in the right direction. You know, like we should all have little goals. The ultimate goal can always be whatever you decide it to be, but you can also have little goals. So even if you don't win, you have little victories that you can maybe build on for the next competition. But that becomes the new dread is like, can I beat this person? Is my jiu-jitsu better than theirs? And if you've put in the work, you have all the confidence, you're way less anxiety driven about it. And on the day, even at weigh-ins, all that anxiety, all that time I spent thinking about like, yo, am I even going to be able to compete with these people? Am I going to get blown out of the water? It melted away when I was able to be there. And that's all it is like, I feel like we get so frozen with fear or anxiety or whatever it is that builds up inside of you because of the unknown. You don't know. And then that to me is why, if given the chance, I'll always try to weigh in the day before or earlier, because you're given the opportunity or the chance to be in an environment that you're going to be going to battle in. You know, I'm not trying to say that like in any sense past just jiu-jitsu, but like you're going to compete against somebody that is not wanting you to do well, and they want to do really well. But you're able to be in that environment when the stakes aren't as high. So you're able to feel the energy. I'm a big vibe person. So if I can like check out something, like if I'm shopping for a new house, if I can check out that house, I'm going to feel the energy way better than if I do through pictures. So like you can look at like Naga or competition pictures like beforehand and get a feel. But that's nothing like being there, being able to touch the mat, being able to feel the energy in the building. And that is what I do or get from being at these weigh-ins. Like, I'm not there to see my competitors. I, no offense, could care less about who the competitor is. It's more so getting an energy from the room or like the future experience, so that I'm familiar with it. Because like the fear comes to me from unfamiliarity or whatever. New word, I think. I don't know. But it comes from not being familiar with it. It comes from unknown situations. Not knowing what it might be like. Not knowing if it's going to feel like dark energy, if it's light energy, whatever energy is to you, like whatever the vibes are. Sometimes people talk about this in big fights or races. Like you just know on the day, like it's not your day. And I believe that maybe you can know that, but you can overcome that. And maybe you can surprise yourself if you really remember, yo, I put in the work for this and I'm confident in my room and the ability of our team to get us all ready. If you do that, I feel like you can overcome that dark cloud, or maybe that woke up on the wrong side of the bed energy. It's all about stopping bad momentum and starting good momentum. Like you got to be a self-starter in that way. Like if it's not going well, don't let it compound. Don't let it take over. do what you can do to take advantage of every good thought. Like if you need to take like an inventory on how you're feeling in that moment. Yo, like I don't have the rash guard I want. I don't have the mouthpiece I want. It doesn't fit the way I want. I didn't get to eat what I wanted. You can also take in good inventory. So you can say, I'm fully hydrated, so I feel fine in that way. I got here safely. Like traffic was terrible, but I'm here safely in one piece. I'm surrounded by a team that wants to see me do really well, and they're going to do everything in their power to coach me in the right way to make that happen. And vice versa. I'll do the same thing for them when they compete. So you have to take the bad with the good. Like you have to handle the bad. I know that term is normally take the good with the bad, but I don't know why that is, because I think it's more important to take the bad with the good. Like you have to continue to keep the good. No matter how bad things are, remember the good things or the things that you can see good in those bad moments. I believe everybody can do that. Like I'm not any exception, and I'm nothing in this podcast that I'm saying today is groundbreaking or anything. It's just my experience on that day. And it was awesome to take the group photo and like to feel everybody's anxiety lifted, and everybody was so stoked that I don't think anybody got injured that wasn't like previously injured. Like I think maybe people have some nagging injuries, but nobody left hurt more than they were when they got there. Like if anything, everybody felt much better afterwards. And then the team all went to this Moe's barbecue place and had a team meal, and it was awesome. And I left a little early, and this is me explaining why I did. I just had a lot going on mentally. Like I was super happy for the team, but I was like mentally crushed that I wasn't able to compete. And I want to say I'm sorry to the entire team that was there. I'm sorry if I felt distant or if I was over talking anybody that was trying to coach. I'm sorry if I didn't give the correct coaching. I'm sorry if I wasn't the training partner or the teammate that you needed on the day. And I'm sorry I didn't make it to compete myself. I promise you all those things I will work on, and I will do my best to make it to the next one. When my body is healed up, I plan on competing, and I plan on winning a belt. I plan on doing everything I can because I have confidence in our room, and that is what makes my anxiety lessen. Like I am proud of everybody that competed. There's something to that saying or that poem or quote. I can't remember what it's considered, but the man in the arena, like nobody knows what it's like other than the person that's doing it. And it takes everything to do it. It means a lot to the people doing it individually, and it means almost nothing to anybody. So don't get so caught up in winning or losing. I promise you the team loves you regardless whether you win or lose. And I know the excitement level may be a little more if you win, but it doesn't take away from your self-value if you don't. And I have a really hard time with that. And I know it's easy to give people advice that you actually need yourself, but you just don't take. Like me right now telling people it's not about the outcome, it's about the journey. I completely agree, but mentally I'm stuck in that prison of I want to compete and I want to do really well, and I want the team to be really happy and proud. And right now my first battle is just getting out there. It means the world to me if I could just get out there. But I'm just having a hard time keeping my body together well enough to make it. But I promise you when I do, I will do everything I can to make the team proud. And I'm working on my entire self-worth being caught up in physical movements. I know that sounds silly, but like I like to struggle. I like to go through the hell of sweating, competing hot, like training, open mats, running, doing bike work. I love all of that. CrossFit. I love everything that's going to put you through a mental struggle and physical struggle, and you come out better feeling than you did when you went into it. Like, so I'm having a bit of a crisis not being able to do the movements that I want to do and be as physical as I want to. And I know I'm not the first person to ever be injured. I know that, and it's difficult. And I feel for everybody before me and everybody after me and everybody during it that gets injured. Like, I hate it for you, but I promise you we will be stronger afterwards. Not that we have a choice. You have to get stronger. You have to do this. Like, quitting or giving up or stopping, none of that is an option to me. If I could right now, I'd be training as much as I possibly could. And I'm going to take advantage of this time where I'm not able to as much as I want and study a lot so that when I come back, I can move the way I want to move, and my mental tools are a lot stronger than they are now. But those are some things that have been on my mind and weighing on me, and I'm probably never going to be easy to deal with. And I know it's going to be a struggle every day dealing with this. I'm not talking about necessarily the injury. I'm just talking about the mental mindset of feeling all the emotions you feel in a day. Like, you're going to contradict yourself with your emotions. It's so hard to avoid that. But I also feel like that plays into having an open mind. Like, it's important to keep your mind open and be able to change your ideas or your stance on ideas. And I'm open to that, and I'm open to being wrong, and I'm open to being difficult. I can't help that part. I would do whatever it took to lessen that. And part of that is just learning, like trying to take something from every situation I experience, like this and these nagging injuries. Like, I'm doing what I can to get better at it and to try to find some form of self-worth. Like, I just felt like Saturday I didn't help the team in any way. And I'm sure that's not the case, or some will say it's not, but that's just how I felt. I felt like just a spectator. Like, I felt like I didn't add to anybody. I just felt like another person, and I felt lost and just like a ghost in a room full of people, and nobody could see me. And that's not anybody's fault. That's me for not being consistent enough to have the respect from the people that I really want it from. That's not putting in the work. That's not taking care of myself the right way for however long that has been. A lot of this is on me, and I own that, and I promise you I'm trying to get better, and I'm sorry for anybody that's been affected negatively through this process or doesn't have good experiences with me. I promise you none of this is by choice because I want to be shitty. I am shitty, and I'm working on it. I love my team. I love everybody that competed. I'm working on me, I promise. But I just wanted to get that out there. I wanted to tell everybody that I love and appreciate you guys that care. And I can't thank you enough or tell you how much that means to me. It really means the world. Thank you so much for listening. I love you guys. Bye.